What's happening, Andy? Here I am joined today by Rich Reamer and Brian Coombs of Canon USA. How are you guys? What's happening?
We're
Very
doing
good.
great. Great to see you.
That was awesome how you said that at the same time. You must have worked weeks and weeks and weeks recording that. Well done. I knew Canon could pull it off. Let's take a step back and kind of introduce you guys individually and talk about what you both do for Canon. Rich, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. So Rich Reamer, I'm the senior director of our newly named large format systems division. Very exciting. Back in October of last year, we basically brought two large format teams together into one, which really made sense. We've kind of been operating as two separate entities the last couple of years. You had the CPP products, which is your Arizona, Colorado, TDS products, color wave, plot wave, and then you had the image prograph side. And so we're all together as one big happy family. I'm the senior director for product marketing and product planning, and been in Canon for over 24 years now. So just exciting times now that we're a much larger group than we used to be.
Very cool. And Brian, how about you?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Brian Coombs. I'm the director of product planning. So I work on Rich's team. I've been with Canon now for 19 years, and essentially, with product planning, we wear multiple hats as most do these days, right? But essentially, the idea is we're heavily involved in product lifecycle management. So we'll reach out to the field, whether it's our sales teams, our channel partners, analyst partners, and try to monitor what the trends are in the marketplace, what the needs are in the marketplace, and then communicate that to our headquarter locations and our R&D teams to plan for future products. And then once we're ready to launch, we're kind of integral in that product launch process of making sure everybody internally is prepared and ready to announce and start selling some new products.
Well, I've known you, Rich, for years. You've been in the wide format group in that LFS, in the traditional image prograph group since since as long as I can remember. You have ink in your blood. I had a lot more hair when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
You haven't changed very much, but let's dive in a little bit and talk about some of the new releases you had. You guys have made I did a little bit of review before our call. I just kind of wanted to bring you on and catch up with what's happening with Canon in the commercial print, production print, large format print. By the way, very cool that you brought those two groups together after all these days, because I could never figure out which group was more appropriate for what, and I think it just brings some continuity to you guys to put if the machine can print oversize, it should be in this house, right? So
Right.
I think it simplifies, and you guys have been heading that direction for quite a while. So moving forward, let's talk about two of your big recent announcements that you had in commercial print. So Colorado, Arizona Technologies, Rich, that falls under your ownership, I believe. So what's happening, in that area, wide format? Tell us what's going on.
Sure. Really, the focus right now, the major launch has been on the Colorado side, the new M series. It's fourth generation Colorado, and just very exciting technology. The Colorado was introduced, I want to say, back in 2017 originally, the UV gel technology, and it's really come a long way with the productivity. It's able to produce, the amount of square feet per hour. The amount of ink that it uses really cuts down on your overall cost per print, and you're able to do more in a day. And so what the M series really does is kind of take it to the next level. For one, it adds the option to add white ink, which was something that's very popular within our industry, and the one thing that Colorado was really missing. The other really exciting part of the launch is the modularity capability that the Colorado now has. So basically, the M series is replacing what was the 1630 and the 1650. And the major differences between those two models were speed. And, the 1630 was introduced a few years ago for those that are just kind of getting into that more productive roll-to-roll speed area, but weren't quite ready for the 1650. But basically, if you got a 1630, that's what you had for the next few years. If you needed additional speed, you were then buying a 1650. Now, basically, we have an M3 and we have an M5. And so if you start with an M3 and you feel like, you know what, I'm really growing out of this, I need something a little bit faster, you're able to add a speed license. And so you're able to upgrade that machine to an M5. If you start with an M3 or you start with an M5 and you realize later on down the road, you know what, I need white ink. We're doing more applications where we're doing 3-layer, 5-layer. We need that white ink capability. That's something you can add later. I mean, certainly we encourage everyone to get the most up front, but if you don't, you decide you're just not ready for it, you're able to add options later on down the road. So basically you grow your printer as your business is growing. And so it just gives our customers a lot of flexibility. And with the white ink, I feel like that was maybe the one piece that the Colorado was really missing. And now it adds that capability. And what we like to talk about is hassle-free white ink printing. And just a lot of the challenges that you face today in printing white, with how the machine slows down and how much ink you can use, it really allows you to do more than some of the other solutions that are out there in the marketplace today. And we include software that's available that just creates certain recipes for you that once you use them, you're able to use them again in the future. Creating different layers of ink on top of each other can sometimes be challenging. And so we've taken a lot of the hassle out of that printing. And so it was probably the worst kept secret out in the marketplace. I think people had heard about it since last year, but we did officially announce it on March 30th and recently had the first global showing at the ISA show. And
I was going to ask you about that. So you actually had it out there. People got to see it. And so first of all, how did it go? It's your first public showing of one of your premier products, right? So a lot of pressure, how to perform in that environment. And those are some critical people looking at it there.
Yeah, I mean, we were really looking forward to the show. It didn't let us down. The overall attendance was great. I think the official attendance was a little over 17,000.
Wow.
And our booth was crowded the whole time. I mean, we got a tremendous amount of leads. The moment the show opened, the booth was very busy. We weren't sure about that. We were kind of middle of the hall, so sometimes it takes a while for them to work their way over. And people came in looking to see the Colorado M Series right away. And, they got to see it. We got some great feedback, a lot of happy customers, a lot of units sold right there at the show. So we were extremely excited, great feedback on the applications that were shown in the booth. And, it was, as always, a tiring show, but, I think we accomplished a lot there. Yeah.
So let's back up and talk a little bit about white printing, white toner, white ink in your case. Brian, if you're comfortable talking about this, give us some background. Why is this important? Why is this such an innovative feature? Why did it take so long, to come out? Not just from you, but just from anybody, right? I mean, it's what's the advantage of printing in white, and why is this such a big deal to Canon customers?
Sure. And I'll hone in on that initial question you had as well. Why did it take so long, right? White ink is quite challenging. So typically when you're looking at a pigmented based ink set, with a white ink in particular, you have a lot of titanium dioxide that's in that ink for white pigment. And it's very heavy. So it has a tendency to settle very quickly. And that tends to clog your nozzles quite a bit. And so it adds a lot of maintenance issues. So very often when you're out there in the market, you'll see some competitive equipment to Canon that might have white ink, but you're also seeing a lot of maintenance that's required in those machines. So we wanted to take our time and make sure we can eliminate a lot of those factors from the purchasing decision. And so when you're looking at a Colorado M Series, when it comes to maintaining, that device over time, there's really not much involved at all. I mean, we were amazed even at the show when we first got our own unit several weeks prior during testing. We left it idle over the weekend, came back in and had to do nothing from a maintenance standpoint.
Wow, for an ink machine,
for a white ink machine, exactly. And so it really caters more to the UV gel technology itself. If you look at like a resin-based ink, those heavier pigments are going to settle much quicker. With UV gel, however, it just naturally by design, it's a more viscous design, right? So it remains suspended. So there's no need to remove heads and put them into some sort of tumbler. There's no need to remove, bags of ink and shake them, right, prior to putting back into the device. With our technology, it's basically all maintenance free. So we like to say white ink without worry. You can use your white ink as you would any other color. So we were a little bit longer to get to the market, but by the time that we did, it's a much stronger solution. It's a lot more maintenance free. You're going to save a lot of cost in the long run. And you're going to gain productivity, of course, as a result, because you could use that white ink whenever you'd like without having to go through some sort of maintenance procedure.
And what are they doing with it? What are they using it? What does white ink bring to the
table?
Yeah,
a lot of great applications. Yeah, I mean, it really expands the applications you could use. I would say primarily one of the more popular ones would be window film, right? So if you walk into a McDonald's, for example, you can have an advertisement on the outside of your store. You walk in on the inside, and it's a completely different advertisement. you could put white ink in between those two layers, and so it's 3-layer printing, for example.
Oh wow.
You could do up to 5-layer printing. It's one of the another advantages with the Colorado M series. If you look at some of the competitive equipment out there, you're maxed out at 3-layer. With Canon, we can go up to 5-layer, and because we're using that UV gel technology, it also doesn't require nearly as many passes because it's not an evaporative ink, so you don't have to go over the same area multiple times to get that level of saturation. So we can lay down ink in far fewer passes, and so it's significantly quicker. And we're also using significantly less ink in the process. So not only is it more productive, but you're also saving a lot of costs as well. But it really expands, like you said, the applications, right? So it's window films. And, we keep touting to people with the M series, yes, white ink was a huge component of that launch, right? No question. And we think that'll get us into, a lot of new areas, a lot of new applications. But even if you're just purchasing the CMYK configuration without that white ink, whether it's initially or whether you're adding it later, just the CMYK ink alone has a lot of advantages as well. So we added a lot of media sensors so that now we can still expand the number of applications the machine's used for. You can print on, for instance, reflective media. You can print on heavily textured media. One of the fastest growing applications these days would be wall coverings. So if you have textured applications for wall coverings, we have new sensors in the devices that can print on, a wider range of those types of substrates. So it's not just the white ink that's expanding the range of applications you can use the machine for. There's other technology, additional sensors and markers that are added to the machine that expand the range of substrates as well, even just for CMYK printing.
Very cool. Very cool. So you guys are bringing to the table something that, I've seen customers start gravitating towards in the commercial arena for the last couple of years. And there's some partners of yours, some competitors that have been doing it, and just the stuff that they come out with, using that white ink and just the background that it provides and things they can print on. It's very cool. It's very cool. So I'm sure there's a ton of excitement. Rich, anything else? What's going on with Arizona? Any other wide format, large format products that you're excited about right now?
Yeah, no, we're very busy. We just recently announced Poster Artists, our online version 1.1, which is a great template-based software.
Yes.
Now being able to do double-sided printing and variable data printing and things like that. So we've been very busy with that. Arizona, we can't really get into details, but we have an exciting launch that's coming up there, similar to what we've done in the past with our 2300 series. You might see similar to that in another one of our series. So stay tuned, and we might have some news in the coming weeks for you around Arizona.
Very cool. I do love Poster Artists. I have to say, you actually gave me a project probably 15 years ago where we found a non-print shop was the goal, right? To find somebody who wasn't your traditional user of wide format, large format. And so I found, believe it or not, I used to go to a gym, found a gym, and these guys wanted to up their printing game. And so you donated this wide format printer, this image prograph, we'll call it, and he used it for a month. You gave it to him for a month with all the supplies and said, use it and see what you can do with it. And then we wrote a case study around it, and he was printing pictures of his posters of his members. He had a juice bar that he changed every day. He'd have a really nice new menu. But this was a gym that was trying to look really, really just really hip and cool, and they had just a great setup. Cool. They just redone it and painted it and new just everything about it was new. And the one thing was lame was they had all these, just copies up on the wall, black and white copy every day of the new menu, and no signage because it was just hard. And you gave these guys the ability to change that, and Poster Artist was huge for that. And this was, I can't imagine how good it is now, but the drag and drop ability for them with these templates to be able to lay out these posters that look like something that you would mail away for, or have to go to a professional printer to do. And he was doing them one after another in his back office. So my favorite part of that story was he actually came back and bought that machine at the end, which was not the intention, but he wouldn't, he didn't want to let it go. And first I think he expected you to give it to him. You didn't, and then he paid for it. You gave him a very nice discount because it was used by him. But what an eye opener that whole project was, which was just showing that it was such an affordable product, right? Like, people don't realize that at that level, those products, the entry to that line is very, in this point, it's probably under $1,000. At that point, it was like $3,500. So
Yeah.
that was just
Well,
very, very cool.
yeah, I
Well,
mean,
now it's even better. Go ahead, Rich. I'm sure you're
well,
about to say what I am.
I mean, it's free now. Poster Artist is online, and the name Poster, we joke all the time with Jerry Matsufuji, who's the head of our marketing at Canon USA for the BICG side, and we joke that the Poster name isn't appropriate because it connects to Image Runner, Color Image Runner, Image Press, the Pixma home printers, the Image Class. So
And it's all template layouts. It's drag and drop.
it can
Easy.
be flyers, it can be posters, it could be whatever you want, and it's free. It's online now. So we still have that full version that's available for a price, but some of us are not as graphically talented as others, and this software can make you look very talented.
This makes
what
it
you
look
do.
like you have a graphic artist on your staff. So I'm gonna remember to put a link. Poster Artist. It will be down below. Feel free to click on it, download it. Just killer software. I can't even imagine how good it is now, because back then he was making these just awesome, just beautiful posters. You had like dozens of layouts that he could use, and it was just drag the picture of this person, put it in, type his message in, and then print it. And then 20 minutes later, he had. And now I'm sure it's much faster, obviously, but just had professional looking posters that were up on his wall within an hour of him thinking about what he wanted to do. So what's next for Canon? Who wants this one? Rich?
Well, what's next is, really, as I kind of teased, we've got a new Arizona potential launch coming up in a few weeks. So we're very focused on that right now. And we're very excited about the upcoming summit events that we have. I know you'll be attending.
Yes,
and
let's talk about that.
Yeah, we have two events. One will be held in Las Vegas next week. I can't believe it's already here. And one in June down in Nashville, Tennessee. And so between the two, I feel like it's about 300 reps. Some are general line reps, some are production specialists, and they get to learn about the latest technology on the office side and production side and large format side and the solutions that go with that. And so for large format, we're very excited because, once again, going back to that one group mentality and being able to talk about, products from the whole product line just gives us a tremendous opportunity to help educate them and give them more tools in their toolbox to present to their customers. They're walking into corporations and perhaps offering color image runners today, and they don't realize there's so much more opportunity for them to offer other solutions and really differentiate themselves from competitors. And so we're excited. We have our hour-and-a-half breakout. We'll be in the technology showcase, and looking forward to seeing you there and bringing you up to speed on what's going on with our large format team these days.
Well, I will be there, and I'm excited to see that. And the wide format, the large format, the image prograph especially, but even at the higher ends where the real, there's real money at those when you get into super large format. And you're really the only one in our world of the traditional A3 manufacturers that I tend to work with that's got wide format, right? That does have an image prograph line. Everybody else, you'd have to partner up with somebody else or go outside your ecosystem. But you guys have this embedded. It works with all your software. We mentioned earlier briefly, but it's affordable, right? I mean, it's not. People look at these machines and they seem like they should cost way more just because you're printing these oversized documents. And printing is not so inexpensive because you're printing big sheets and lots of ink. But buying that machine, acquiring that machine, getting it into your workflow does not cost a lot. Brian, what are you going to be doing at these shows? You're going to be showcasing these, or what are you working on?
Yeah, so I'll be basically presenting at the individual breakout session for the large format portion. So we're going to be covering in depth our TZ30,000 device on the image prograph side, as well as our plot wave and color wave equipment. We do get sometimes some questions. Well, how do they relate to one another? When is each of these products a little bit more appropriate for a potential sale and that kind of thing? So we'll kind of review the technology found within each of those three lines and then explain from a positioning standpoint, where do they best fit in the market? Very
cool. So 300 reps. Salespeople of probably all levels are going to come through these programs. That's ambitious, right? So it's only two. You do two shows, right? You usually do one or two. But this is just a great way to. I know you had a bigger show earlier this year with the owners. Or I think you did, but to be able to do these more regionalized shows, get people in front of the machines, and really be able to, and the technology, not just machines. I'm old school, right? I talk about machines, but with you guys, it's the software that drives a lot of that. We spent a lot of time talking poster artists. With that, you've got the shows coming up. You're going to see these dealers. What do you hope their takeaway is going to be? And then, we'll wrap up here.
Well, I mean, we really want to give them more options to make them more productive. And a lot of times, they're going to sell an image press or a color image runner, and perhaps they're trying to upgrade a competitor. And many times large format just gets their foot in the door. And so we're trying to give them more weapons. And certainly when you talk about image prograph more on the lower end of large format, sometimes from a revenue standpoint, it's not huge. It could be a $5,000 plotter. It could be, Brian mentioned the TZ, could be up to $15,000. But the recurring revenue that those printers can bring from the ink and media and serviceability is just tremendous for their company. And it keeps their customers going to one particular place for all the needs so that they can get out there. So
yeah, keeps people out of your account.
Yeah, I just think it makes them that much better. Gives them they're able to go to their customers and offer them more solutions, which is going to make them more effective as salespeople and specialists.
Cool, Brian, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I couldn't be more excited. I mean, for me, I think it's just important to showcase just how broad, the portfolio is from Canon, whether it's printers, whether it's software solutions, or just solutions in general. I think it's important to understand kind of how they all interact with one another. What are the proper, markets and applications that they each cater to? And I think just kind of showcasing that extensive portfolio is kind of eye-opening in a lot of these types of situations, where some of these channel partners might not be aware of just how many different industries we're actually playing in right now.
Well, and it's such a great place for you to just drop a new technology in front of people that they really haven't had a chance to see. We're all kind of siloed. I work on this, you might work on that. You're in large and wide format. I'm, office or whatnot. But we come to these events, and then you see something like AMLOS, which you could tell me all you want, how it works, what it does. And until I see that working, I'm not going to get it. Right. Last year, we also saw, what was the little robot guy you had running around there? Was it? I can't even remember what it said.
The Wiz.
Yeah, the Wiz. Yeah, great video. Just, you were 2 googly eyes away from Disney Character of the Year. And it was just, that little thing was just very cool, and that's technology. And it sort of shows some other areas that Canon's involved in. The one biggie that I do miss, I'm not going to make you commit to it, but hopefully someday we'll get back to it. Canon Expo. That was, the true flex of flexes, because let's face it, the group that you work for, the group that I cover, is just one part of a massive organization. And that's the one show where you put it all in front of everybody under one roof. It's massive. And you see the security cameras, and you see the other the professional cameras, let's call
it. Yeah.
You see just new technology that no one knew you were doing. I'm sure next time we'll see medical stuff that I won't have any idea what any of that does. But then back to see the future of some things you're working on that you're not releasing. It's just it's one of the things that you guys have done for years and years. I've been to 4 of them, I think 3 of them. I know we got knocked off schedule with the pandemic, but it's something that sets you apart, makes you guys very special. So hopefully you guys will get back to that. That's it for me, though. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on today. We'll do a last shout out. Rich, anything you want to leave us with? And then Brian, you take her home.
Just want to thank you for the opportunity of talking to us today. We really appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing you as well as all the dealer reps down in Nashville and out in Las Vegas. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Brian.
Yeah, and I'll second that. We just appreciate the opportunity. Always exciting to talk about some of the new things coming out and recently released, and happy to be on board. And thanks for having us.
Well, always great to find out what's happened with you guys. You never disappoint, and there's just plenty of product coming. You are a true fire hose of technology. I will say that, especially your group. I have to say I think that there's a contest. The office group really needs to get a fire under themselves, because you guys in the last 6 weeks have just been press release after press release, large format, wide format, the changes to your group, the Arizona teaser, but you had some Arizona technology we're showing at that recent show you were at, the just all of this has just been piling up Colorado, and it's amazing. So, kudos to you guys, and let's catch up, office. These guys are making it look bad. So thanks again for coming on today, and we'll get this video out there. We'll put that information out there for you guys. It'll be below for poster artists for the download. And if you want to get in touch with Rich or Brian, get in touch with me, and I will get you their information. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.